From the Cactus, KCTS, I'm Jamison Greenwood with Greenwood and Company. Well, as usual, it's wonderful to be here with you all. I hope everybody's been having a good week. Christmas is going to be coming soon, and we're going to have a spectacular Christmas show for you when we come back in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, there's a little bit of Christmas in this one, not much. Our main focus is on TV with this episode, although we will be talking about watching Rudolph. But I grew up in a time when you had to watch things on cable TV, and in the Greenwood family house, we had the absolute worst cable box ever manufactured. It was always a situation where you couldn't just change a channel. You had to start at C-SPAN, watching book TV, and gradually move your way up to whatever channel you wanted to watch, or otherwise it would give you a warning that it had to reset itself. And one Christmas, we were all ready to get watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, as is tradition. To me, the Rankin Bass specials are one of the most indispensable parts of the Christmas season. But with our cable box, well, let's begin the story itself. While my parents' most watched channel was always Arizona PBS, they did get a cable subscription shortly after my sister Macy was born, and we began watching the likes of Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network, along with The Simpsons on the CW. However, our cable box was never that efficient, and sometimes had to be reset after something so simple as a channel change. One Christmas, I had my friends Theo and Taylor over to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and Grammy Benson also drove up in her car from Sun City West to join us. After getting pizza from Marinello's Pizza and Subs, we gathered in the family room to start Rudolph. Mom turned on the TV, which of course was tuned to the closing credits of the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour, so we turned to Channel 5, the Phoenix CBS affiliate KPHO, where we witnessed an ad for a story about an art auction that Morley Safer would be doing for 60 Minutes that Sunday. Then we waited through a series of commercials for McDonald's, Pepto-Bismol, and 90210 for Rudolph to start. Then, in the middle of an ad describing a variety of campy holiday snacks you could make with the help of Kraft mayonnaise, the screen went black. "What happened?" Taylor asked. After a moment, the screen returned. "Dolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the classic musical extravaganza." Black screen, no sound. "You may need to fix the antenna," Theo suggested. I corrected him. "It's cable TV. We don't have an antenna." After a moment, some sound came through. Burl Ives beginning the story. Then black screen, no sound. Then the blue screen of death, its ominous message written in white, all capital letters. "Your cable box has encountered a problem and needs to reset itself. Please turn box off, wait 10 seconds, then turn box on again." Guess I'll have to unplug it, I thought. I crawled to the floor where the cable box was plugged in. Mom shut it off, I unplugged it and plugged it back in, then Mom turned the box back on, and we tuned up from whatever sleep-inducing hearing they were broadcasting on C-SPAN until we reached CBS, where Rudolph was continuing with the We Are Santa's Elves section of the overture. The rest of the story continued through the Eat, Papa, Eat section, but then just as Santa was beginning to sing Jingle, Jingle, Jingle to the newborn Rudolph, the blue screen came on again. So we took to the cable box, shutting it off, unplugging it, waiting 10 seconds, plugging it back in, turning to C-SPAN, then to CBS. Then it happened again, just as we were being introduced to Hermie the Elf. Shut off, unplug, wait 10 seconds, plug back in, C-SPAN, CBS. 2 seconds of Coach Comet at the reindeer games. Black screen, blue screen. Your cable box needs to reset itself. Turn box off, wait 10 seconds, then turn box on again, for the umpteenth time. "How many times are we going to have to reset the cable box?" Theo asked. Grammy struggled to understand the problem. "This never happens at my house, and you have the same cable package as we do." Mom shook her head in resignation. "Same model cable box and everything." Taylor sighed. "Can't we just watch it on the tape?" Mom sighed. She had wanted us to experience it the way she had, with a bunch of commercials interrupting it, but resigned, saying, "Yes, you can watch the tape." Dad had not said much over the course of these difficulties, but his face was getting a bit red. I'm about ready to take that thing out in the garage and whack it with a mallet. You should, Mr. Greenwood, Theo exclaimed. Well, then we'd have to pay for the broken box on top of our monthly payment, and they don't deserve much more money if we can't even watch TV without resetting the machine every 5 minutes. Jimmy, you, the kids, and Grammy can watch the tape without us, Mom said. Don't you want to see it too? I wondered. It would be nice if we had all 3 generations, added Grammy. Mom was picking up the telephone and inspecting the sticker on the back of the remote. Dad and I are going to have some words with the cable company. Besides, I've seen Rudolph plenty of times. I'm sure we'll watch it again before Christmas is over. But how are you going to fix the box if we're watching Rudolph? Taylor wondered. We're not going to fix the box, Dad explained. We're going to make them send someone out to fix it, Mom added, and make sure this reset problem doesn't happen again. The soonest the cable technician could come and fix our box was 2 days before Christmas, never an ideal time, but even less so considering all the last-minute gifts, decorations, and foodstuffs that one must procure as they get closer to celebrating the arrival of the light in the darkness and Santa with his big sack of toys. My mother, who was off work, succumbed to procuring the news from All Things Considered on the sharp boombox on the kitchen counter, and Macy and I watched VHS tapes of The Grinch and Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, but had to shut the latter one off when our father came home. Dad could not stand the concept, so we only reached the beginning of Santa's court hearing. 5 minutes later the doorbell rang, signaling the cable box would soon be fixed. Before I can discuss the cable box getting fixed, we have to take a short break, but once we return, we will discuss whether or not it actually got fixed, and whether or not we would ever be able to watch TV again. You are listening to Greenwood and Company on KCTS. The weekend, a great time for relaxing and spending quality time with family and friends, but also doing the obligatory cleaning you can't accomplish during the week. But if you're not satisfied with traditional cleaning methods, get ready for Steinbeck's Citrus Spray, the all-purpose household cleaner perfect for any job you can think of. Use it in the kitchen to get stubborn foods like peanut butter and spaghetti sauce off your plates and spoons. Put it in the washer to make your clothes smell like stale orange juice. And spray it on the sink, the mirrors, and in the toilet to increase risk of asphyxiation from your over-sanitized bathroom. Steinbeck's caustic formula may peel the paint off whatever it touches, and it may contain spent uranium, corium, and other chemicals that should not be utilized outside of nuclear power plants, but with the proper safety gear and hundreds of years to wait while the radiation dissipates, it will give your home a fresh feeling and a zesty citrus scent you'll love. Why wait? Get Steinbeck's Citrus Spray to clean your home now. Steinbeck Citrus Spray is available at Gig at supermarkets and other subpar retailers. And welcome back. You are listening to Greenwood and Company on the Cactus, KCTS. Now, before the break, the doorbell had just rung, and we were expecting the cable repair person. Upon Dad's answering the door, we found Chad, a late teens, early 20s aged cable clerk with bushy blonde hair and a face covered in acne. He wore a light blue polo with his name stitched on one side of the chest and the ChoiceCast TV, phone, and internet logo on the other side. "Greenwood, Helen, and Frank?" he asked. "Yes," replied Dad. Chad shook my father's hand. "I'm here to fix your cable box, Mr. Greenwood." Dad led Chad into the kitchen, and Macy and I followed behind. Dad introduced him to Mom, who was busy organizing canned veggies and soups for various holiday casseroles. "I think my wife can explain it in a more articulate way than I can." "What would you tell him?" Mom asked. "The dang thing ain't working," Dad laughed. Mom explained to Chad that the cable box seemed to decide at random intervals that it needed to be reset, often happening at least once a week and sometimes several times over the course of one evening. "It kept interrupting Rudolph," I added. Chad smiled with nostalgia. "That ain't good. How are you supposed to know if he saved Christmas when your cable box keeps resetting?" Chad assured us that he could take a look at the box to determine what the issue was, suspecting that it was merely one setting that was not engaged or a switch turned on at the back that needed to be turned off or vice versa. He started by pulling down the box, checking to ensure all the cables were tight, then he turned the TV in the box on. He hit a settings button, then flipped through various menus for blocking channels, adjusting color, closed captioning, and recording settings. Then he switched it back to receive signals, defaulting, as usual, to C-SPAN. Chad shook his head, stumped. "Did you try unplugging it when it happens?" "Yes," Mom rolled her eyes. "That is so weird, because I've looked at every possible setting and I cannot find anything wrong with it." "Try changing the channel," I suggested. "It seems to happen when we try to change the channel." Chad switched it to channel 41 where House Hunters was playing on HGTV. "It seems to be working okay," Dad sighed. Then the blue screen appeared. "Your cable box has encountered an error and needs to reset itself. Please turn box off, wait 10 seconds, then turn box on again." "Might be the remote," Chad wondered. "Tell you what, I'm going to run to the van and get another remote control and we'll see if we have the same problem." Chad came back from the van soon with a remote that matched ours but took the batteries out of ours so the box wouldn't get confused. He used the remote to turn the box off and on, cycle through the settings, adjust the volume, and change channels. On the last action, he punched in specific channels with the buttons and flipped up and down across channels with the up and down arrows. All evidence showed the TV was working fine. "Guess your work here is done," Dad replied. "Yeah, no charge on that remote. It happens all the time." From that moment everything was fixed, so Mom and Dad escorted Chad to the door. Then, while they were gone, we received another message. "Your cable box has encountered an error and needs to reset itself. Please turn box off, wait 10 seconds, then turn box on again." "Mom! Dad!" Macy called. "The cable box isn't working." After dashing out the door to catch Chad before he left, Mom and Dad came back into the family room with him so he could inspect further. "We spoke too soon," Mom shook her head. "That's weird," Chad replied. "Usually the remote fixes it." For the next 15 minutes, Chad clicked through every setting that he could find on the cable box, followed by 5-minute tests of flipping between channels. Invariably, the flipping between channels would work fine, but shortly after settling on one particular channel, the box would give the blue screen with the error notice. This also happened when the volume was on mute, and whether we used our remote or Chad's remote. Chad kept trying to do everything he could, but nothing was working, and every time he thought he had fixed it, it would return to the blue screen. I worried about Mom and Dad getting mad at him if it ended up that he couldn't fix it. Though I did not know how much it cost to buy a cable package, I did know it cost enough that it should work when you're paying for it, and this cable box was not working. Chad continued troubleshooting until the blue screen came up for the millionth time. "Your cable box has encountered an error and needs to reset itself. Please turn box off, wait 10 seconds, and turn box on again." Something inside Chad snapped. He leapt up from the couch, ran up to the cable box, began unscrewing the cables going into the wall in the TV. Then he yanked the power cord out of the wall, something Mom and Dad had admonished me never to do, and headed toward the front door. "Where are you going?" Dad asked. "I'll be back in just a second, Mr. Greenwood." Out in the driveway, we heard the van start up. "Is he seriously?" Mom was in shock. We all walked up to the front door, where we saw the front of the van pull forward slightly. Then Chad shifted the van into reverse and backed up, resulting in a sound of metal being crushed. Then he pulled forward again, shut off the van, and got out. About 2 minutes later, he returned to the front door, carrying a different model cable box, all wrapped in its cardboard packaging. The picture on the box showed it was an industrial gunmetal color and looked like a bigger, more sophisticated machine than our smaller current cable box, which was black. "On behalf of ChoiceCast Cable," Chad began, "we would like to present you, Mr. and Mrs. Greenwood, with a new cable box, plus an expanded premium cable package with no extra charge for the first 6 months. Mom and Dad were a little surprised. "Well," Dad thought, "I guess that's okay," Mom replied. Dad nodded in agreement. "What happened to the other one?" Macy asked. "Oh," Chad cleared his throat, "it's, outside." While Chad went in to begin hooking up our new cable box, Mom, Dad, Macy, and I went out to look at the van and found, lying on the asphalt, the crushed remains of our long-loathed cable box less than 3 feet away from the van's rear tires. The black metal case sat on top of a shattered green circuit board and a number of steel fragments and screws. Mom shook her head. "I just hope he cleans it up when he leaves." "I'm sure he will," Dad smiled. "It's a small price to pay for more channels." "That we can actually watch," I added, and all 4 of us laughed hysterically. You are listening to Greenwood and Company on KCTS. The weekend is here. Time to relax, make new friends, and look for love. What do all these things have in common? They make a perfect pair with Judge Thatcher's Lawful Lager. A cool, refreshing blend of wheat, hops, and castor beans for that repellent but refreshing taste. We'll make you forget all your cares of the week, reveal things that will make your friends burst out laughing, and if you're lucky enough to get a first kiss, your mouth will be clean as a freshly sanitized public urinal. Every time a gavel lands, have Lawful Lager close at hand. Judge Thatcher's Lawful Lager. Available in cans, bottles, or fast-dissolving strips to freshen your mouth. Please drink responsibly. Support for Greenwood and Company and the Cactus, KCTS, comes from the Society for Cats with Mathematics Test Anxiety, the Save the Floppy Disks Foundation, and the Used Car Salesman Plaid Sport Coat Foundation. Well, TV can be a bit of a problem in our lives, as we found based on the fact that our cable box was such a complete problem. It was just a terrible thing. But even though I appreciate the convenience of streaming and of all the wonderful things, how we can watch YouTube on our TVs now and we can just watch whatever we want whenever we want to, there's still a certain nostalgia I feel for some older TVs, not so much the big screen TV we had, but when I think of like my Grammy Benson's TV, which was a mahogany tone Magnavox, which I know I've talked about on this show many times before, and it was a little console, the type that sat in the corner, like the old-fashioned ones that people used to gather around back in the 50s. It inspired me to look at it through this poem, TV Console Sonnet. A giant box of cherry-colored wood, full of diodes, relays, CRTs, brings news and entertainment, bad and good. 5 basic channels, cable if you please. Though lower definition were its pictures, varieties of programs it still brought, from Billy Graham and sharing Holy Scriptures, in-depth reports on wars and battles fought. Still more, it was a window to the arts, showcasing Elvis Presley, Boston Pops, and shows for children capturing our hearts, Walt Disney's tours of Main Street and its shops. A dinosaur, but built to last for years. TVs, which I am sad, have disappeared. That brings an end to this week's Greenwood and Company. Our show was created and hosted by yours truly and was written by him along with James Salison and Minnesota Martinez. The engineer is Ivan Crosby. Jonas Andrews answers the phones even though we don't take calls on this program. The theme was composed by Martin Landstrom, and our costumes are provided by Grandma's Garage Thrift Shop. All the characters, settings, and situations depicted in this program, along with all advertised products, are entirely fictional, and any similarities to products, events, or persons, living or dead, is entirely coincidental. Also, KCTS is not an actual radio station. Be sure to visit our website at JamisonGreenwoodPodcast.com to learn more about Greenwood and Company, and make sure to follow us on the podcast platform of your choice and share with your friends on social media. Just a reminder to please be careful if you are going out on the 101, the 17, or Route 66 tonight. I'm Jamison Greenwood, and until we meet again, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay young at heart. Good night. This is KCTS FM Phoenix. Stay tuned for Lacking in Substance.